Nemo Radio is on the air.
A, B, C. A, always, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
Hey, it's John Nemo. Welcome back to another episode of Nemo Radio. Want to talk today about one of the hidden keys to being successful in business. This isn't something that you hear a lot of people talking about, or at least not openly admitting to. And this is a struggle that I have had and that I see clients of mine have time and time again. And it occurred multiple times for me personally this week. And I thought, you know what, now is the time to really hit record on this and revisit this. I know it's something I've talked about in the past, but it's so important to be reminded of it. And that is the simple fact, the inescapable truth that what you do with your time during the business day is everything. What you say yes to is everything. And I'm specifically talking about it from a sales context. I'm talking about it from a couple different areas. One being mindset. So the episodes that came up for me this week, one was someone emailed me out of the blue and said, I want to talk to you. Here's my phone number. Call me. And I'm assuming about LinkedIn lead generation. And I had another person out of the blue email me and say, hey, I want to pick your brain. I want some advice. Can I have 15 minutes of your time? And in both situations, I had to stop myself and say, well, what's my mindset here? Do I have a scarcity mindset of, oh my God, if someone wants to talk to me, I'm going to drop everything and give them my most valuable asset, my most valuable commodity, which is my time, my one-on-one time and attention and brain power? Or do I want to have an abundance mindset and say, listen, there's a reason I've learned over the last decade the process of qualifying people before I talk to them live, right? As far as sales calls go. So in the first instance where the person said, hey, I want to talk to you about lead generation, call me, they were basically ignoring all the conventions I have in place, all the hoops that you normally have to jump through in order to talk to me one-on-one. And so I basically looked at the person's email and said, okay, looked at their profile quickly and was like, well, they may or may not be a good prospect. I don't know. And I don't want to spend 30 minutes, 60 minutes, however long, getting on a sales call with them, trying to figure out if they're qualified, if they'd be a good fit for me, if I'd want them as a client, if they can afford the service, if, you know, they have urgency and a need right now. I don't want to do all that live because I've got a type form that does it for me, right? So basically I wrote back to the person and I don't know if they've gone through my content fully. The two-step approach that I always want to take before I get onto a sales call live with someone one-on-one is, step one is I want to really indoctrinate them to my brand. That's something my business coach taught me. He calls it brand indoctrination, meaning they get to know, like, and trust you and your personal brand. Who are you as a person? What's your personality like? Communication style? What's your story? What's your history? Where have you been? What have you done? All of that is so important before they get on a call with you live. You don't have any leverage if someone gets on a call and says, well, I never heard of you, but somebody gave me your name and number and said, you can help me with LinkedIn. What do you got? Right? And they sit back with their arms crossed. As opposed to someone that says, hey, I read your book, LinkedIn Riches. I totally empathize and relate to your story and your hero's journey. That's exactly how I built my business. I had the same things in common with you. I really relate to the fact that you quit your day job because you wanted to spend more time at home with your 3 wild young boys, and that you took this entrepreneurial leap, and that you use LinkedIn to find clients. And I love the expertise you demonstrated in the book about how to approach people on LinkedIn and how to create a client-facing profile and how to do one-on-one engagement. That all resonated. I love that style. That's exactly how I want to do my LinkedIn. And then I went and watched your video about your done-for-you services, which is a pre-recorded video that I've made, 5-10 minutes long, and I do it by niche. So business coaches, CPAs, consultants, franchise consultants, small business owner, whatever niche you're in, I make a little 5 to 10 minute video on Loom where I do a screen recording showing you how the done-for-you process works using a real-life example of current clients or former clients, whatever it might be, and saying, hey, here's an example. This is the client. This is how we approach their profile. Here's why I did what I did to make their profile stand out from the crowd. Here's the approach we took with their one-on-one messaging and why I wrote what I wrote to make them stand out there. I wrote a custom ebook for them. Here's why I did what I did there and how I interviewed them and how I got these unique parts of their story front and center, because that's really what makes them unique, different, and better than the competition. Now, here's how my team and I reached out to 200 people a day on LinkedIn one-on-one. Here's how we tracked all that engagement. Here's what the results were. Here's the opportunities our client got. Here's the end result. And then if I have like a client video testimonial, I put that in the video too. So again, if you come to me, one of two ways. One is I saw your name online. What can you do for me? Two is I read your book. I watched your videos. Oh, I've been on your email list. I've watched other interviews you've done. I saw you on a podcast where I listened to you talk for an hour. They're so much more qualified. It's such an easier sales process. And so that's where that temptation comes in. Like the guy today was like, call me. I want to talk to you about getting leads from me. I don't know the context. Are you warmed up? Are you ready? Do you have urgency? Have you read my content? Do you really know, like, and trust me? Or is this going to be a total cold call where I'm going to have to sit here and try to sell myself to you and justify myself and explain to you that I'm a big deal, right? So again, you don't want that. You want your content to carry the day. You want your content to do the heavy lifting. And that's why I'm such a big fan of ebooks or videos or whatever it might be, to really demonstrate your expertise, to provide value, to also put your personality into that content so that people get to know, like, and trust you, your story. Because at the end of the day, people are still going to be emotional based on their buying decision. They're still going to buy based on the vibe or the feeling or whatever it might be, right? So I basically said to the guy, hey, thanks so much for reaching out. Before we talk live, I don't even know if I can help you. So what I'd like to have you do is fill out this quick type form online to tell me more about your specific situation, your business, et cetera. And then that way I can give you an honest answer if I think I can help you. And B, I want to decide if I think you'd be a good client for me or not. And this is where I've brought in this extra leverage from an abundance mindset of, I don't have to take on anyone and everyone as a client, nor do you. Just because someone says they want to hire you and or is willing to pay you does not mean you have to work with them. I mean, there's 6-7 billion people on earth. You don't need everyone to be a client. Just like on LinkedIn, I don't need every single person that says they want my services to be a client unless they're a good fit. Like, I've learned this axiom over and over and over again, including, today, this week, every day. My business coach taught me this years ago. You win or lose based on client selection. You literally win or lose based on client selection. And to take it a step further, my business coach, John Morgan, said, the quality of your clients is often the quality of your life. Especially for me, because I work one-on-one with all our clients. Like I intentionally have changed the way Nemo Media Group done for you LinkedIn lead generation, where I personally work on your project. I interview you. I do all the strategy personally. I write all the copy and all the content personally. I write your profile personally. And then I have a team of dedicated project managers all here in the US that I've personally trained to kind of carry out the day-to-day activities, to track all the engagement, to work with you as the client, handing you the new leads, et cetera. And then I'm always available for strategy. And so because I've built it that way, it's not something where I could just shoehorn in anyone, because I got to work with you. Like, what if you don't trust me? What if you're a micromanager? What if you're a control freak? What if you're, super stressed out about money in your personal life and, you're feeling the pinch and you just need instant wins and all these different things where you really understand the quality of your clients is the quality of your life, and you win or lose based on this. And so that was the other thing with this person that wanted to just talk to me randomly right away today, was me basically saying, whoa, like, I got to decide if I want to work with you. And then the person wrote back and was like, well, I can't figure out how to submit your form, and I'm too busy, and just call me. And, I'm not sure I'd want to work with you. Money, budget's a concern, and da-da-da-da-da. So I was like, okay, so I'm saving myself a long 60-minute sales call to kind of cut to the chase of, well, if you're not willing to jump through a couple simple hoops, one is filling out an online form, then you're probably not the right client for me because you're going to want to do things your own way and not follow my process and not follow what our team does, not follow our timelines. There's a method to the madness, right, for every step of what we do. And the good news is, it's not right or wrong for that person. It's just, well, then it's not the right service for you, right? I mean, it's kind of the same as saying, I want the VIP service for my car. Come pick it up and take it to the place and do this and do that, as opposed to, no, I'd rather save money and give up my time and drive my car and wait at the mechanic and sit there and, I can do other things. So it just depends on the preference. But the key is really understanding, what do you want to offer, right? What do you want to offer? What does your brand look like? The other thing too is, if I just said, yes, I'll drop everything and call you right away, what does it say about me? I'm not busy. I'm desperate. You can interrupt me in the middle of a work day and I have nothing better to do than call you and beg you to work with me, right? I'm like, actually, I have things to do. Yeah, I do have, dozens of clients I'm helping right now. There's not a rush for me. I'm not in a scarcity mindset of, oh my God, I just need money. And I think even if you are in that place where you're feeling a pinch financially, I've never found it to be a good solution to chase the payday. If you ignore all the red flags and just do whatever it takes to get the person over the finish line and sign up, time and time again, and I'm sure you're nodding your head, the lowest paying clients are often the worst clients, right? The clients who bring up lots of red flags on the sales call, who, tell you they're not going to follow your instructions, but you don't care. You just want the money, or they tell you need to do things differently. I'm unique. I'm special. You can't do it this way, or I won't use your software that you recommend, or I'm not going to follow your instructions. If you take those people on, you're going to have a nightmare. You're going to have a bad experience. You're going to stress out your team. And the client probably won't get good results because they're not following your formula. They're not trusting you. The tail is wagging the dog. And then they'll probably want to fight with you for refunds or cancellations or chargebacks or whatever else. So it's like, save yourself all that headache. And so with the other person, good person, whatever, said, can I have some free time to pick your brain? I need some advice. And I used to do that all the time. And I used to take free coffee meetings and I used to drive across town. If anyone wanted to talk to me and pick my brain, I would let them do it. And I would give away all these free consultations. And what I found was, again, I was trading my most valuable asset in my life, which is my one-on-one time, for no guarantees. Basically, I don't know if this person is qualified. I don't know if they can afford me. I don't know if they have urgency. I don't know if they even want my services. They just want free advice. And I have such not low self-esteem, but I have such a scarcity mindset that, oh yeah, I'll talk to you. And it's like, what I found was, thanks to the internet and content, is I was able to respond to this person and say, well, hey, actually, free calls is not something I'm able to do at this point. Let me know what your questions are or what your challenges are. Chances are I probably have some good free content that would help solve it for you or give you my best advice. And what I've done over the years is, every time someone has wanted advice or has tried to pick my brain or has said, what about this? Or how do I do this? Or how do I get over that? I've created content for it, and I've saved it and organized it and categorized it. So if someone says, how do I raise my rates? I'm a business coach. How do I charge more? That's a pain point for me. I can say, oh, great. I actually put together an hour-long video training complete with, templates and scripts and whatever. Here, I'll give it to you. It's on demand. Watch it at your own leisure. Take what you like, leave the rest. But I didn't have to spend an hour with you one-on-one, pouring it all out, doing it in person. I bottled up my best answers, my best advice, and just gave it to you. And so that's where you see really successful people have an FAQ site or a on-demand library where it's great to ask questions, and you should ask for advice, especially if you don't know, like, or trust me. I want to win your trust. I want you to get to know, like, and trust me. And I want to demonstrate expertise. I get that piece of it. But I would much rather let my content do that, where I can bottle it up, create it once, bottle it up, and then on demand for years and years to come, I can just hand you that link. And then if you're serious and you want to take action, you can go take my advice and listen to me and see what I share, and then see if it works for you or not. And then if it does work for you and you want more, I have more free content, or I have a paid option, which is an online course, or I have a paid option, which is done for you. But again, all of that is the other person using their time to get to know, like, and trust me, to get to see me demonstrate expertise, to get indoctrinated into my personal brand. I'm not giving up my one-on-one time for that. And the other big challenge I've run into with sales calls is hopping on the phone too quickly with someone that's not qualified, that's not indoctrinated, that's not ready to go. And that's where I've reverse engineered hundreds of sales calls into a front end type form. So I have an online form before I'll get on the phone with you that basically says, hey, before we talk live, to make sure I can help you, fill out this form. And it'll basically say stuff like, hey, it's all these questions I need to know, like, what's your job and who's your target audience? And, how urgent is it to you to get leads right now? Is it 1, like no big deal, I'm just looking around? Is it 10, I need them like my hair's on fire? Do you spend money on lead generation? Do you have a different LinkedIn agency you're already using? Yes or no? Depending on how they answer that, if they say yes, I might say, well, you're still using them. No. Okay. Why not? Did it go badly? What happened? Is there, something wrong? Like, again, I want to know all these things before I talk to you live. Like, what's one new sale worth to you? What's one new client worth to you? So I know the ROI and the value. If you hire me to do done for you lead generation, if one new sale for you is $100, my done for you is not going to make sense as far as the, investment level. If one new sale for you is $10,000 or $100,000, that's different, right? Because again, you don't need to make 100 sales in a week to justify the investment with me. So these are all questions I can ask and have them tell me prior to even getting on the phone live. So that way you're not wasting your time with people who say, this isn't urgent, I don't have budget, I have a low ticket offer, and my audience doesn't fit with who you market to. So like, that's the beauty of having this abundance mindset. And it also is leverage. It's leverage for you to say, listen, like, I'm not going to hop on the phone with just anyone because they ask. It's more like, I got to make sure you're a good fit for me. And that's really worked well for me on sales calls too, is to legitimately and honestly say to someone, obviously you can kind of, come on and ask me whatever questions you want, but I'm also going to grill you. I say that and I laugh, of course, because I'm, a fun person, but I say, listen, I've learned to win or lose based on client selection. So as much as you're going to grill me, I'm going to grill you. I want to make sure you're a good fit for us. I want to make sure I'd love to work with you as a client since I'd be working with you personally. I really want to get to the bottom of whether or not this makes sense for us both. Right. And that implies like, I'm not desperate. I'm not going to just take you on. And what happens is if the call goes well and, I present how we can help them and I give them specific ideas and strategies, and then they'll say, okay, what's next? How does it look? And I'll say, well, wait, let me just ask you, like, why would you be a great client for me? Why would I love to work with you? Why would my team love to have you? And it really flips the script. And then the prospect has to really sell himself or herself to us, to me. And it's really interesting to see how people react, whether they get off put or they're like, oh, that's a great question. I totally get it. Listen, if I hire an expert, I want them to do it. I'm trusting you. I'm not here to micromanage. I'm not here to Monday morning quarterback. If I'm going to trust a vendor, I'm trusting you. I don't want to be dealing with the minutia. That's a good answer to me, right? Because that's saying I'm not a micromanaging fanatic. Or they'll say, listen, I'm serious. If I sign up, I'm going to pay my bills. I'm going to show up for the calls. Whatever you need from me, I'm going to give it to you. This is a priority for me. I'm not somebody that dabbles, right? Or whatever it might be. I'm looking for the right types of answers out of people, not, oh, well, whatever it might be where they feel. Because remember, sales calls oftentimes are all about leverage. Think about it in a non-sales environment. When you go to the doctor and you walk into the doctor's office and see your doctor, who has the leverage? Who's in charge? Who has control? Who has authority? Who has power? The doctor does, of course. You don't go into your doctor and go, well, I'm really going to question your medical knowledge on this one. And I'd like to bring in another doctor into the room with us and have him or her listen to you. And then can I talk to 3 or 4 of your current patients that have had this procedure? I want to know what they think it's like to work with you as a patient and get surgery. No, right? Like, you're trusting that doctor, right? You're going in, you're trusting that doctor because they have built a brand and a position of authority. They went to medical school. They have the diplomas. They wear the white lab coat. So they're wearing the uniform to make them look important. Your doctor doesn't come in a t-shirt and flip-flops, right? They're all dressed up, wearing a tie, whatever. They have leverage. They have authority. You're going to do, in most cases, whatever the doctor tells you because of the relationship. So it's similar where you wouldn't walk into a doctor and say, I don't really know, or you wouldn't say to the doctor as well, well, I'm gonna do the treatment you recommend, and if I get better, then I'll pay the bill. Then I'll pay the medical bills. But if I don't get better based on your surgery or treatment, I will not pay. So this is a pay for performance situation, doctor. You've got to be as good as you say you are at treating my bronchitis or fixing my ACL. But then depending on how well I rehab it and how I feel, then I'll decide if I want to pay you. So again, you don't have those situations. But again, in the business world, in sales calls, we run into that all the time. I had 2 other people this week say to me on LinkedIn where I'm just doing outreach. I'm not trying to sell or anything. I'm saying, hey, would you like a free copy of my book, LinkedIn Riches? Would you like a free digital ebook on how business coaches can get new leads on LinkedIn. I had 2 people write me back in 24 hours and say, I'm only interested in working with you if you provide all the leads for free and then are willing to take a cut of whatever sales I make. And I was like, okay, no. I said, of course I'm going to do Dale Carnegie and present empathy and everything. And I basically say, hey, I totally get it. It sounds like, right? That's a Chris Voss labeling from his great book, right? Never Split the Difference, where it sounds like you've had a bad experience in the past with lead generation services. It sounds like you're skeptical, right? So like you just label what they're saying. And then I say, and that's totally understandable. I'm sure there's tons of people out there that promise the world and then don't deliver. And, I can relate. I've been burned before myself. At the same time, and then I pivot and I say, I don't do a pay for performance agreement simply because I don't have any control over the outcome. Meaning I can give you all the best leads on earth, but if you can't close them, I won't get paid. So I'm not interested in becoming your business partner because I don't know, like, or trust you either. I don't know how good you are at closing leads. And I don't set up my business that way. Like, you pay me for the service. I provide you the leads. It has to make sense for you to close them. But again, it's marketing, right? There's no guarantee. And I said this to someone the other day. I said, it's like you could get a billboard in Times Square and pay all this money. And if you put a phone number on the billboard in Times Square, you don't get a refund if you don't get as many phone calls from the billboard as you were hoping for, right? Or if you don't close any of the leads that called you from the phone number on the billboard, you don't get to go back to the billboard company and go, I want a refund, it didn't work, right? It's a service. Like, you paid a team to create a strategy, you paid a team to create artwork, you paid people to design the billboard, you paid them to figure out the best times of day to display it, you figured out, all these other strategies, you paid for that. Whether it works or not, same as buying a TV commercial. You don't get to say, well, the commercial didn't, bring in as many car sales as I wanted. I want a refund. So I'm trying to be very upfront about that. It's marketing. Like, there's no guarantees. And I feel like, that, again, other people approach it differently. They say, I will keep generating leads for free until you close one. Fine, great. They can enjoy that business model. That's just not my approach. And it's great because then you can be straight up with people. And again, you never want to change your model, your structure, your software, your methods, your strategies, your tools, just because someone else says, I don't want to do it that way, and is willing to pay you. Like, I've never had a good experience with a client. In a dozen years of doing this and hundreds of done for you clients, I've never, ever, ever had one client who tried to change our system that it worked out well, ever. And that was me being scarcity mindset, wanting the money, wanting to try and, we'll make it work. We'll go outside the lines. It just disrupted everything. No one's happy. It doesn't work well. The team is stressed out. The client gets mad because they don't get the outcome they want. And then guess what? The client just blames you at the end. Even though the client's the one that said, I don't want to follow your system. I don't trust your approach. I'm going to rewrite all your messages. I don't like the content. Do the content differently. Change all the content to these words instead of the ones you picked. You can do all that and do everything the client says. And then if it fails, you're still going to get the blame. So what I just say is, listen, like, you got to trust my process and trust my approach. Like, I don't hire a tax person and then second guess their tax strategy or pour over the documents and go, actually, I think we should take this deduction instead of that one. Right? You have to cede that control to people. And I think there's just so many good lessons in this. And again, I'm running into this every day, every week, and I'm recording this as much as me for you. But I guess the key thing, to take away from this episode is just remember, have that abundance mindset. There are so many leads out there. There are so many people out there that would love to work with you. And also, life is too short to work with people that aren't a good fit, that you don't enjoy, that will stress you out, that will make your life miserable, that will fight you tooth and nail. There's so many better people out there. And my business coach has really helped me see this. Like, if you can free up your business, your life, your coaching slots, your agency, whatever it is, if you can get rid of those bad customers or don't take them on to begin with, and filter them out in your sales process and say no to that, even though you want or need the money, you're going to free up space and energy for amazing clients. And that's, for me, 95% of my clients are phenomenal. I mean, the best, right? The best ever. And it's probably more like 98%. Who am I kidding? But they're awesome, right? There's always a few that slip through because you thought you had a good thing going and then people change, whatever. But again, that's where you have to figure that out and move forward quickly. So again, don't give up your time. That's the other big thing. Don't be desperate. Don't give away your expertise. Don't give away your knowledge one-on-one for free in a vacuum. Bottle it up as content. Bottle it up as a video, a podcast, an ebook, a template, a script. Then give it away one to many. So if people ask you for advice, can I pick your brain? You're an expert in whatever thing. Sure, pick away. Here's a link to an ebook. Here's a link to a video series. Here's a link to a webinar where I take a deep dive on that exact topic. Let me know how it resonates. You go take your own time and watch it, and then come back to me if you have more questions. If it resonates, if you want to learn how I can help you further in a paid engagement, great. But don't give it away one-on-one, because you're not getting the value of that. And the other great thing is, create the content once, use it over and over and over for audiences, right? That's where all my best blog posts, podcast episodes, videos, and books have come from, is people asking questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? What's your advice on this? What's your advice on that? So this is an episode I can say where people are going to ask a question about what's one of the keys to being successful in business. I can say, oh, great, listen to this podcast, right? Instead of getting on a call one-on-one and walking them through what we just did. So thank you so much for listening. Hope you found it helpful. Appreciate you so much. And we'll see you soon on another episode.